Welcome back, Sebastian here. So Formula 2 feature race review. So let's get started right away. So Vesti was on pole with Martin second, and both were starting on the harder tires. Most cars were starting on the harder tires, which is generally better at Monaco in case there's a safety car, and which means that you can basically wait until almost the end of the race to pit, because you are using those hard tires. Lap 1, steady start for everyone, and luckily no one took the Regunathan line, so that was good. Leclerc made a move at the hairpin, so he moved from I think like 20th to 19th, and then Behrman also had a nice move passing Cordial at Tabac. Lap 2, Hauger overtook Cordial for 14th, and at this point Cordial was really dropping quite a few places, so there must have been something. I thought to myself, oh, there must have been something wrong with the car, and turns out there was. Lap 4, he was in the pits, and he retired for now. Then Hauger was noted for leaving the track and gaining an advantage at turn 1 off the start, I'm assuming. Lap 7, Vesti was continuing to set fastest lap, so really good pace from Vesti early on. And then in addition, Benavides was also investigated for the same thing. Lap 8, Novalak and Boscheng started pitting for prime tires, so the cars that opted to run for the soft tires, maybe to get a bit of a jump off the line, were starting to come in at this point. Leclerc, lap 9, Leclerc loses brakes. Yeah, he basically lost brakes, cut the Nouvelle chicane, and he came in to retire to the pits. So kind of encapsulated capstones a really awful weekend for Leclerc at Monaco. Lap 10, Nissany pits and comes out 10th. Lap 11, Daruvala and Cordial pit, and they come out 16th and 17th respectively. They say that Hauger has no further action for the incident at the turn 1. Lap 12, Crawford pits from 7th, and Nissany is noted for a pit stop infringement, which would later be investigated after the race. I'm not sure what the end result was of that, but nonetheless didn't really have a massive impact on the end result. Fittipaldi then also pits as well, and he comes out behind Daruvala and Cordial. Lap 13, Iwasa and Hadjar pit, and they come out right behind Crawford. Lap 15, Behrman pits from 9th, and he overcuts both Iwasa and Hadjar. But then Iwasa gets a really nice move and passes Behrman at Murabo, because Behrman's tires are still very cold and he's still warming them up. So really opportunistic move there by Iwasa, I thought. Lap 17, Novalak cuts the Nouvelle chicane passing Nissany and gives the place back. Lap 19, unfortunately for Fittipaldi, he has what looks like an engine failure, and he goes down the escape road at the Nouvelle chicane and retires the car, which leads to the VSC being called. Lap 20, Hauger was given a 5-second penalty for leaving the track and gaining advantage. I don't know if this was a separate incident from the start incident, or if this was just them re-looking at it and deciding to changing their mind, deciding to give a penalty. Same lap, VSC ends, and then a couple of laps later, lap 22, Doohan basically spun at Massenet, and he basically looks like he just lost the rear of the car, oversteered, and crashed rear first into the barrier. And this also caused some engine damage as well. So there was a big fire, and the marshals had to basically extinguish it as well. Safety car was brought out, although it was a really dangerous moment where there's actually more than one dangerous moment, but the first dangerous moment was when Maloney and Versure, the cars immediately behind Doohan, came to pass him, and they came very close to hitting his car. So luckily, no harm done there. Vesti pits, and then everyone else follows, and we didn't actually see the part that I'm talking about later until after, but basically Vesti pit, everyone else followed, and at this point I think the top 8 cars hadn't pit yet. They all pit, and they basically all stay in the same position. So really unfortunate for all the cars that decided not to pit, that had already pitted, so including Crawford, Iwasa, Hadjar, etc. Those cars would have probably gone at some point at least, had the safety car not come out. And then lap 24, 2 laps later, the red flag's actually called, and this looked like it was possibly for guardrail damage. Could have been there's a lot of debris on track, or from cleaning. There was a lot of the extinguisher fluid still on the track, so I think it was going to be very slippery. So they had to do something to deal with that to make sure that it was safe, of course. Let's see. Yeah, the multiple cars were noted for like failing to slow for the yellows. And then there was a very, very long delay. I think it was like 30 minutes roughly. And then the rolling start, and then the safety, and then the basically the lapped cars have to go in and unlap themselves. And while doing this, race control basically doesn't give enough time until when the safety car ends. So there was this 40-ish second gap between the cars that had to lap, that didn't lap, that had to unlap themselves, and the lead pack, which would have ramifications later. Lap 29, Martins was under investigation. This was something we didn't see live, but Martins was under investigation for failing to slow for yellows. And what happened was this, he was actually the car 2 ahead of Doohan. And when he came around the next lap, under safety car, I believe, I think it was safety car at this point, basically he doesn't really slow down at all, and he comes very, very close to hitting some marshals and hitting Doohan's car. So it was a really dangerous situation, and he was given a drive-through penalty, which I thought was honestly a bit lenient. I saw some people online were thinking red flag, or not red flag, black flagging him, but I think, you know, a stop-go penalty I think would have been sufficient for that. And then he drops only to 8th because of this massive gap, because of race control's decision to bring the safety car in as soon as possible. Let's see, and then the other point that's important is that because the safety car came out, all those cars pitted at the same time, there was very little strategy. So basically it was a sprint race from the end of the race. And then at some point, they actually had to switch to minutes. So they basically, instead of doing lap counts, there was a timer clock going down because they maxed out their time. So with 6 minutes left, Boschung pits and retires. With 3 minutes left, Martin was starting to put pressure on Stanek, who was in the car ahead. With a minute left, Novalak was given a 5-second penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Basically, Nissany was driving kind of erratically, and Novalak basically cut the chicane, didn't give the poise back. Nissany cut the chicane as well, and then lost a poise to his teammate. So as a result, Novalak was given a 5-second penalty. And so Vesti duly takes the checkered flag to win the Formula 2 Monaco feature race. Let's go through the result to finish. First, Vesti, second, Pourchaire, third, Maloney, fourth, Verschure, fifth, Hauger, sixth, Miney, seventh, Stanek. A really good race from Stanek, somehow going from 22nd to 7th at Monaco because of the strategy. 8th, Martins, who also gets fastest lap. 9th, Crawford. 10th, Iwasa. 11th, Behrman. 12th, Hadjar. 13th, Ruvilla. 14th, Cordial. 19th, Nissany, or 15th, Nissany. 16th, Benavides. 17th, Novalak. 18th, Cordial, who was technically not classified because he retired really early on and then came back after the red flag. So he was like 20 laps down on the rest of the field. And the retirements were Boschung, Doohan, Fittipaldi, and Leclerc. Your championship standings after Monaco are first, Vesti with 89 points, second, Pourchaire with 84 points, third, Iwasa with 69 points, fourth, Miney with 49 points, fifth, Hauger 48 points, Maloney in sixth with 48 points, Verschure 46 points and 7th, so very close there between 4th and 7th in the championship. 8th, Behrman 41 points, 9th, Deruvilla 40 points, 10th, Leclerc 34 points, 11th for Boschung with 33 points, who got, I believe, got all of his points at the opening round in Bahrain. So not great since then for Boschung. 12th, Fittipaldi with 31 points, 13th, Doohan with 28 points, 14th, Crawford with 24 points, 15th, Martins with 24 points as well, 16th, Hadjar with 18 points, 17th, Stanek 7 points, Cordial 5 points, and 18th, Novalak with 2 points, and 19th, Nissany 20th with 0 points, Cordial with 0 points also in 21st, and last is Benavides with 0 points in 22nd. So that's all for the Monaco feature race. I think, the start before the Doohan's crash, seeing the strategy unfold was kind of interesting, and I was curious to see how the hard-tired runners would finish, like how the mix between soft-tire runners and the hard-tire runners would finish. Unfortunately, that was kind of all ruined because of the safety car and then the ensuing red flag. So we didn't really get to have that strategy race that I was hoping for. And not a ton of chaos either. There was that one crash and then a bunch of mechanical retirements as well. Of course, this video is going up a bit late. I was doing a race this morning, so I got home a bit late, so I had to watch basically the race tape delayed. So that's why the race is coming out now. But of course, we have the Monaco Grand Prix in about, let's see, 2 hours time as we're recording this video. So that should be exciting. Hopefully the weather isn't too bad, isn't too crazy. You know, we don't want a repeat of Imola or Belgium 2021 again. So that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.